financial world at large is learning this week that in this year, the global silver market is headed for its biggest supply deficit in decades. The Silver Institute made headlines late last night, stating that worldwide silver demand is on track to eclipse 1.2 billion ounces in this year 2022, up an additional 16% from already historically high levels reached last year in 2021. In this week's SD Bullion Market Update, we will dig into some of this all-time high silver demand data, as well as news related to record high price inflation ongoing, and the breakneck speed that the fiat Federal Reserve and central banks around the world are testing and launching their fiat central bank digital currency programs. Stay tuned. Hello there, on behalf of SDBullion.com, this is James Anderson with a quick SD Bullion Market Update. Before we go further, please smash the like button so other sound money stackers can also see this content. And be sure to subscribe to our SD Bullion channel so you can get our latest market coverages and also a chance at winning incredible bullion giveaways like this one.
Get ready for SD Bullion's Monster Box sweepstakes that includes 500 Silver Eagles. You could be the next lucky recipient of a phone call like this.
This is Dr. Tyler Wall, CEO of SD Bullion. Well, I'm calling you to let you know that you won the SD Bullion giveaway of a monster box of Silver Eagles.
So click the link below for your chance to win.
Click the link below to enter our new 500-ounce American Silver Eagle coin Type 2 giveaway contest. And good luck to all of you who take part. The gold and silver markets sold off slightly for the week's trading. The spot silver price closes near 21 an ounce ask, while the gold spot price finished trading near $17.50 an ounce ask. The gold-silver ratio climbed slightly to finish this week at 83. Last night at 8:05 Eastern, Reuters published the following article regarding current record silver demand ongoing. It reads, "Silver heads for biggest deficit in decades," Silver Institute says. Global demand for silver is expected to rise 16% this year to 1.21 billion ounces, creating the biggest deficit in decades, according to the Silver Institute on Thursday night. Use of silver by industry, for jewelry and silverware, and for bars and coins for retail investors will all forecast to reach record levels, the Institute said. Automakers are using more silver as the amount of electronics in vehicles increases, but the sector accounts for only around 5% of total demand. Solar panels account for around 10% of silver demand. Demand in India almost doubled in 2022 as buyers took advantage of low prices to replenish stockpiles drawn down in 2020 and 2021. Exchange-traded funds, or ETFs, storing silver for investors shrank, however, returning metal to the market. But the Silver Institute does not count ETFs as physical demand because they only store wholesale silver bars and do not rework them. The Silver Institute predicted a deficit of 194 million ounces this year, up from 48 million ounces in 2021. Demand is likely to fall next year, said Philip Newman at Consultants Metal Focus, which prepared the Silver Institute's numbers. India's restocking is likely to trip over into 2023, but at some point will dissipate, he said. By extension, you could see some decent figures in 2023, but it may not match 2022. Newman said he expected strong demand from industries such as solar panel and automakers, and more silver supply deficits in the coming years, but not as large as in 2022. The amount of silver stored in vaults in London and New York monitored by the COMEX Exchange and the London Bullion Market Association have fallen by around 370 million ounces, or 25% this year. But Newman said there was plenty of silver left. You still have sizable stocks, he said. I don't think that's a concern. Silver prices have fallen around 10% this year to 21 an ounce, mostly due to financial investors selling silver in response to rising U.S. bond yields and a strengthening dollar. A nearly negative 200 million ounce silver supply deficit in the face of escalating demand is a massive outlier from the norm for the global silver market. Metals Focus projects further silver supply shortcomings to come. In other words, the fresh silver mined and recycled per year is not going to keep up with upcoming demand. You see the blue line on this chart here? As well, do you see the persistent red bar sell-offs below? Most of the excess silver that the world has been gobbling up has been funneling out of unsecured ETF sell-offs, flying out of the City of London and COMEX silver warehouses since the silver squeeze movement kicked off in Q1 2021, and especially thus far in this year, 2022. There have been over 102 million ounces of silver bullion that have been withdrawn from the COMEX silver warehouse in order to help meet recently raging silver demand. Already to date, record-sized silver bullion demand in India alone has reached nearly 300 million ounces. And in terms of silver bullion coin, bar, and privately minted fine silver round demand, these figures for this year are already at record high levels, and it's driven by US, Indian, German, and other nations' silver bullion demand ongoing. And while we know many of you have tried to get your family and friends to do the same, many of those who currently ignore you will likely pay much higher values for silver bullion allocations to come. While the building commodity bull market of this decade in the 2020s has taken a breather since the start of this year, 2022, silver has lagged and will do a lot of catching up once this building bullish fundamental silver supply-demand factor squeezes spot prices higher in the coming years. With record high silver supply deficits already escalating energy prices to mine the stuff, and a quarter of London and COMEX silver warehouses drained already, it's hard to imagine how the world is going to continue getting the escalating silver it demands without much higher bid prices to come. Turning now to persistently high secular global inflation rates around the world, this week we saw a new multi-decade high price inflation rate of 11.1% in the United Kingdom. That's an admitted rate of currency debasement that will cut the country's fiat currency purchasing power in half by the end of this decade if it keeps up. The United Kingdom is on average paying $7.20 per gallon of gasoline, and twice the average prices for electricity and natural gas that U.S. citizens currently are. Heating costs this winter in the UK are expected to triple this winter from last. With further secular price inflation this decade and to come, it's no surprise that hundreds of governments around the world are scrambling to start their own fiat CBDC systems, in order so they can further clamp down control on their respective citizenries who are currently suffering under escalating fiat currency debasement, not only now, but to come. This week, the New York Fiat Federal Reserve Bank announced a 12-week pilot program amongst 12 major mega banks and fiat financialized institutions who will be testing out wholesale CBDC payment settlements to end this year and go into 2023. Basically, they're testing how they will settle major bank currency transaction payments for the coming fiat CBDC infrastructure in the USA. Now, the fiat financial powers that be will continue to sell their coming fiat CBDC systems as if they are secure, private, cost-effective, instant, and convenient. But you can press pause right here to read but a few of the likely coming drawbacks, and they will likely also bring once they've been foisted upon us without real choice in the matter. Most of you have known these developing CBDC systems and plans have been in the works for years now. And many of you have been acquiring your private bullion allocations well in advance of their soon launch dates. Time is now running out, both in terms of acquiring bullion at relatively low historic valuations, while simultaneously locking in precious store value privacy while we are still able to do so. That's all for this week's SD Bullion Market Update. As always, to you all out there, take great care of yourselves and those you love.
If you enjoyed this content, be sure to give our video a thumbs up. To keep getting bullion-related news and industry insights, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Finally, hit that alert button so you know when we publish fresh content.